Topics concussion impacts on NHL players. So how many of you have hit their head and experienced a headache? Let's say hitting your head in a car. I'm sure we've all have.
Yep.
Over the past decade, the NHL has taken hits to the head a lot more seriously. The effects of taking hits to the head show up on players who have now retired. The number of concussions have increased from the 2009 to 2010 season to the 2010 to 2011 campaign. Today I'm here to inform you about concussions in the NHL among players in the past 20 to 25 years. Concussions are a major problem with today's sports all around the world. With contact sports causing more head injuries, the NHL Player Safety Association and Vice President of Hockey, Chris King, have taken hits to the head more serious. One way is by creating rules as this one, which was established in 2010, outlawing blindside hits to the head. King also mentioned that the rate of concussions has remained stable after a huge increase in the past two seasons from the 2009 to 2011 season. King also mentions that doctors think high concussions number are good things. It's because the way we diagnose them are correctly. Even though we want less concussions, it shows rules, protocols, and equipment changes are helping recovery time and maintaining health throughout the season. One statistic that has increased is the number of games missed because of concussions, showing that the protocols are stricter to pass, making sure players are more safe and able to return to physical activity. In 2011, a 7-year study from the 1997 to 2004 was published by the Canadian Medical Association Journal. They recorded a total of 559 concussions over 7 NHL regular seasons. Where in 2000-2001 season, per 100 NHL players, there were 7.7 concussions, the highest overall of the 7-year study. Adding to the study, they also recorded the severity of the concussions. Out of 14 different symptoms, the top 8 reported by NHLers are headaches at 71%, dizziness at 34%, nausea at 24%, neck pain at 23%, fatigue and blurred vision tied at 22%, and amnesia at 21%, and loss of consciousness at 18%. While many players miss up to or less than a few games from a hard hit to the head, there are many cases of players missing months or even ending their careers over a serious concussion, and the post-concussion symptoms that perhaps for months or years after the injury. Here are some examples of NHL players who have had multiple concussions. Pat LaFontaine. He suffered 6 concussions during his 15-season career, and his career ended at 33 years old. He missed much of his last 2 seasons due to concussions. Eric Lindros, who also suffered 7 concussions during his career, he sat out the 2000-2001 season because his medical team staff would not trade his rights to another team. Adam Deadmarsh suffered his concussion in a fight in 2000. 2 years later, a collision with the boards and an accidental knee to the head from a teammate caused him to miss 2 seasons straight, ending up his retirement. Steve Moore had his neck snapped and 3 vertebrae were broken. He was experiencing concussion symptoms 10 years later. Sidney Crosby, with the most recent one, has almost missed up to 15 months of hockey after receiving 2 big hits in back-to-back consecutive games. Today I've informed you about the opinion of the Vice President of Hockey Operations Standpoint on concussions, how we are able to reduce the number and how players are affected by concussions. Now that my speech is over, have you ever had a severe blow to the head and pushed it off? Thank you.
So, a couple questions
Yes.
about this. Have they done any kind of research to determine, if there are fewer concussions now than there were before most hockey players started wearing helmets? Because when I was a kid, we used to watch the Red Wings, and none of those guys wore helmets.
Yeah, well, so back then they didn't have the technology to test for concussions.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't really worry about concussions as much as back then as they do now. So they didn't have a study.
Was the game rougher, do you think, then compared to now, or is it rougher now because you have helmets?
I think the hits are more violent, but back then, it was more of just fighting. That was the main concern. But
Yeah, I heard about the Gordie Howe catch.
yeah, but the concussions I think have amped up with the recent seasons.
Okay. Have you had a concussion?
I've had 7.
Oh, you need to not be playing hockey.
Yeah.
Talk about me being wrapped in trouble. I think you need to have your head wrapped in
Yeah, I've had
That's
7
pretty
in the
serious.
past 7 years, so.
Just remember, you only have a limited number of brain cells. And
Yeah,
you
that's
might end up
it.
with a lot less, and you gotta get through college. And then you have to get a job.
And then what's the rest of my life?
And you get there, look at, Muhammad Ali.
Mhm.
He was really messed up from all those concussions, those blows to the head. And they were brutal.
Chris Pronger retired. He just had to sit in the black room. That's what he does with his life now.